Hello students, in this video we are going to learn about the king activity in the endgame. In the opening or in the middle game, king is a weakness, king is a liability. You have to protect your king, you have to go castle and you have to hide your king behind the pawns and so that opponent's pieces do not attack your king. But when it comes to the end game, most of the pieces have been exchanged. Opponent's queens, opponent's rooks or minor pieces, many pieces have been exchanged and now the king is no longer a weakness. You don't have to protect your king because there are not enough pieces on the board to attack the king. So in the end game, you should actively use your king. In the end game, king is the boss. So generally, in the end game, the side with the active king has the advantage. In this position, we are white and here white plays g5. White is attacking this pawn, and if black plays f5, then his bishop is very stupid. His bishop is blocked by its own pawns and it's a really bad situation for the bishop. So here black plays f cross g5. White plays f cross g5. Bishop to c8 and now white plays king f4. That's why white pushed his pawns so that f4 square is free and e5 square is also free. Once his king is on e5, his king is more active than the black's king and that gives a big advantage to white. Black plays a5 and you play king e5. Bishop to a6 and now this king can also attack this weakness. King f6, black defends it and now king goes to e7. His idea is to attack this weakness. White wants to put his king on d6. He wants to play knight e6 check. Once the king moves away, then he will play king d6 and his king will become even more active. Black plays bishop b1, attacking the pawn. White protects it. Bishop to e4 and now you play knight e6 check. King is forced to go to b7 and now this king is even more active. This is attacking the c6 pawn. Bishop c2, your black attacks the b3 pawn, so white defends it. Bishop d1 and now white wins the pawn. Knight cross c6 and black cannot play bishop cross b3 because of knight cross a5 fork. So here black plays bishop c2 and now you just come back. Knight to d4. Bishop d1 and you can capture another pawn. King cross d5, king c7 and you start pushing the pawns. A cross b4, a cross b4. White has active king, white has these two pawns and this is also a weakness, so you can go here and attack this weakness. And your plan is to push these pawns, make a queen. With two pawns, it is easy to win the game. And white managed to achieve this advantage because his king was so active. Now let's look at next example. In this position, we are black. And if I ask you, who has the advantage in this position? Look at the opponent's king position and look at your own king position. Black can centralize his king in just 3 moves. And white will take 1, 2, 3, 4 moves. So black's king will be more active than the white's king. That's why black has the advantage in this position. Black played king f7. He's centralizing his king. White does the same. King e6, king f2, king d5. And where is the weakness in the white's position? This is the weakness because this pawn is not defended by any other pawn. So our goal is to go to b3 and capture this pawn. Let's say white plays king e3. You go king c4. King d2, you play king b3. And in the next move, you are going to win this pawn. Not only you are going to win this pawn, your knight is also attacking the b4 pawn. So b4 pawn is also under pressure. That's why here white decided to play bishop e3. He wants to put the bishop on c1 to protect the e3 pawn. And you play king c4. Bishop c1. White defends his pawn, and you play king b3. White plays king e2, and now if you want to capture this pawn, you have to get rid of this bishop. So king c2. White defends his bishop, and now black plays king b2. Your king is so active. Your king is in the opponent's position, and he can no longer defend this pawn. So you are going to win this pawn. After king d3, you play king cross a3, and you are also attacking this pawn. How white is supposed to defend this pawn? If white plays king c3, then also you play knight cross b4. And if white gives a check, then you simply capture this pawn. So with 2 pawns, you can easily win the game. All you have to do is to just start pushing these 2 pawns forward, and you will make a queen. So again, in this example, black managed to achieve this advantage because black's king was very active. Black's king was more active than the white's king. So in the end game, remember this important principle. King is the boss in the end game. If your king is more active in the end game than your opponent's king, then you have the advantage. So use this principle in your game. Now let's go to the next lesson.